Unpacking the Buddha's First Discourse. Episode 9. The Cessation of Suffering. First, what do we even mean by unpacking? We can define unpacking as the intense scrutiny of traditional Buddhist and Zen texts. A scrutiny that often breaks down the text sentence by sentence, phrase by phrase, and occasionally word by word. And why even unpack at all? Because not all of us have the opportunity to regularly engage with a living, breathing, enlightened teacher. Understanding that in the Zen tradition, it's this engagement that substitutes for the critical reading of the traditional texts. And so, for those who don't have the opportunity to regularly engage with a living teacher, there must be a return to the traditional texts as teacher. And with that return is the understanding that the texts are best approached as sequences of riddles, or perhaps as sequences of landmines. And these riddles must be reconciled, these landmines cleared, if we are to truly make progress. Let's continue. Consider the following text excerpted from the Sutta, setting in motion the wheel of the Dhamma. This is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering. Thus, bhikkhus, in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light. This noble truth of the cessation of suffering is to be realized. Thus, bhikkhus, in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light. This noble truth of the cessation of suffering has been realized. Thus, bhikkhus, in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light. And in aiding in the unpacking of this brief excerpt, we might consider a handful of questions. First, what do the repeated phrases vision, knowledge, wisdom, true knowledge, and light suggest about the nature of realization in the context of the cessation of suffering? Next, why might the Buddha describe the cessation of suffering as something unheard before? And what implications does this have for how the noble truths are to be approached? What is the significance of the threefold structure, recognition of the truth, the task related to it and its completion, in the formulation of the cessation of suffering? How does the structure of this passage reflect a process of experiential insight rather than mere intellectual understanding? And finally, in what way might the phrase "has been realized" point to both a personal and universal dimension of liberation in the Buddha's teaching? And so, we're now into the meat of Buddha's first discourse. More to come.